The night sky over planet Varel glowed faint blue, filled with silent storms of dust. Dr. Ethan Hayes stepped carefully through the ruins, his boots sinking into soft alien sand. The air was thin, the kind that scratched the lungs, but Ethan didn't care. He was searching for survivors. The war between the Terran Union and the Sindari Empire had ended 2 weeks ago, but this planet still burned. Varel was once a peaceful trade world. Now it was only ruins, cold metal, and echoes. Ethan was part of the rescue team sent by the Human Alliance. They were ordered to find any life signs left behind. Most soldiers hated coming here. The stories said the Sindari used bioweapons that screamed when they died. But Ethan wasn't afraid. He had seen too many wars, too many broken worlds. His only goal now was to save whoever was left. He raised his scanner. "Nothing here," said his partner, Lieutenant Rena. "No signals for miles." Ethan frowned. The scanner flickered, then beeped once, faint like a heartbeat. "Wait," he said. "There's something weak but alive." Rena looked at the screen. "That's impossible. No one could survive in this radiation zone." "Then let's see what kind of no one it is," Ethan replied. They moved deeper into the ruins, past walls melted by plasma fire, past shadows that looked like ghosts. Every sound echoed. Every breath felt heavy. Then Ethan heard it, a small sound softer than the wind, a whisper. At first he thought it was static from his helmet, but then he heard it again, clear and trembling. "It hurts." Ethan froze. "Did you hear that?" Rena turned. "Hear what?" "It came from that direction," Ethan said, pointing toward a collapsed building. They climbed over the debris. Under a broken steel beam in a small pocket of space they found her. A tiny alien girl. She couldn't be more than 6 or 7 years old by human looks. Her skin shimmered faint silver, her hair thin and white like threads of light. Her large eyes were glowing faintly, one blue, one violet. A long cut ran across her arm, glowing with faint bioluminescent blood. Ethan knelt beside her, carefully removing his gloves. "It's okay," he whispered. "I'm here to help." The girl blinked, confused. She tried to move but winced in pain. "Don't move," Ethan said softly. "You're hurt." Rena looked uneasy. "We can't take her. She's Sindari. The Alliance doesn't allow contact with their species after the war. Orders are clear." Ethan ignored her. He scanned the girl's vitals. Her breathing was weak. Her internal temperature was dropping. She wouldn't survive long. "She's just a child," he said. "We're not leaving her." "Ethan, I said no." His voice echoed across the ruins. "If Command wants to court-martial me, they can, but I'm not leaving a child to die." Rena looked at him for a long moment, then sighed. "You're crazy, Doctor, fine, but this never happened." Ethan carefully lifted the girl into his arms. She was light as air, her body trembling from pain and cold. As he carried her back to the ship, she opened her eyes again and whispered something. "It hurts. Inside." Her voice was soft, almost musical. Ethan looked down. "I know, little one. We'll fix it." But she shook her head weakly. "Not body, heart." He didn't understand. The translator in his helmet only caught fragments of her words. But the sadness in her tone pierced deeper than any translation could. When they reached the medical bay of the ship, Ethan laid her on a sterile bed. The ship's AI scanned her. "Warning," said the computer. "Unknown biology detected. Patient classified as Sindari. Treatment forbidden under Galactic Law 14C. Ethan's jaw tightened. "Override protocol. Medical emergency." "Request denied," replied the AI. "Violation of Galactic Treaty." He slammed his fist on the console. "Damn the treaty."
"She's dying."
Rena entered behind him. "You're risking everything, Ethan. Your license, your career, maybe your life." He looked at the girl, her breathing shallow, her skin fading from silver to pale gray. "I've lost too many already," he said quietly. "I won't lose her too." The ship's alarm suddenly blinked red, radiation levels rising. "She's emitting energy," Rena shouted. "Her body's unstable." Ethan moved closer. The girl's eyes opened again, glowing brighter now, almost blinding. She whispered once more, her small voice trembling. "They put it inside me." Ethan's heart stopped. "What did they put inside you?" The girl's lips moved, barely audible. "Something. Alive." And then she passed out. Ethan looked at Rena, his face pale. "What did she mean?" Rena asked. Ethan turned toward the scanner, awe and froze. The screen showed something terrifying. Inside the little girl's chest there was movement. Something pulsing. Something not entirely. Organic, not human. Not alien. Something else, and it was still alive. The medical bay lights flickered as Dr. Ethan Hayes stared at the scanner. On the screen inside the alien girl's chest, a strange shape pulsed slowly, glowing like a tiny sun trapped in her heart. The rhythm was irregular, beating faster each time she breathed. Rena stepped back. What is that? Ethan didn't answer. He leaned closer, adjusting the display. The scanner picked up waves of energy. Not just biosignals, but something far stronger. It's not a heart, Ethan said finally. It's something fused with her body. The AI voice spoke again, cold and emotionless. Warning. Unknown entity detected. Possibility of active nanobiotic organism. 78%. Recommend immediate quarantine? Ethan's mind raced. A nanobiotic organism? Inside a child? He looked down at the tiny girl lying still on the bed. Her silver skin glowed faintly. Her hair spread around her face like moonlight. She looked peaceful, too peaceful, as if her body was fighting something unseen. Rena crossed her arms. We need to tell command. If the Sindari used her for experiments, this could be a weapon. Ethan shot her a sharp look. She's not a weapon. She's a child. Then why is she glowing like a reactor? Rena snapped. Ethan ignored her again and turned to the console. He began typing override codes, old medical commands that bypassed most Alliance restrictions. The AI protested, but he kept going. Override accepted, the system finally said. Manual control engaged. He sighed with relief and began a deeper scan. Slowly, the holographic image of the alien girl's body rotated in the air. The strange shape inside her became clearer. It looked like a small metallic sphere, connected to glowing threads that spread through her body like veins. This thing is integrated into her nervous system, Ethan whispered. It's using her life force to power itself. Rena frowned. What if it's keeping her alive? That thought froze Ethan. He looked at the data again. The sphere's pulses matched her heartbeats exactly. If he tried to remove it, it could kill her instantly. He rubbed his forehead. Who would do this to a child? Rena looked away. The Sindari are cruel, Ethan. Maybe they were testing hybrid tech. Maybe she's their experiment. But deep down, Ethan wasn't sure. Something about the device felt too advanced, too human, as he thought. The girl stirred. Her eyes opened slowly, glowing faint blue under the medbay lights. Where am I? She whispered weakly. Ethan leaned forward. You're safe now. My name is Ethan. You were hurt, but I'm helping you. She blinked, confused. You human? He nodded. Yes. Her tiny hand trembled as she reached out, touching his wrist. Her fingers were cold, almost transparent. They said humans. Monsters, she said softly. But you saved me. Ethan smiled sadly. Not all humans are monsters. She tried to smile too, but pain crossed her face. Her chest glowed brighter for a moment, the sphere reacting again. She gasped. Ethan quickly checked the monitors. The energy spike was rising. Her vitals are unstable, he shouted. She's overheating. He grabbed a cooling injector and pressed it against her arm. The glow dimmed slightly and her breathing slowed. After a long moment, the alarm stopped. Rena exhaled. That thing inside her. It reacts to emotion? Ethan nodded slowly. Looks like it. When she feels pain or fear, the core activates. The girl looked at him again. It hurts when I remember. Remember what? Ethan asked gently. She closed her eyes. The lab. Bright lights, voices. They said I must carry it. They said it's the key to what? Her lips trembled. To awaken something. Ethan and Rena exchanged a look. What did they put inside you? Ethan asked, but she was too weak to answer. She turned her head away, her eyes closing again. Ethan stood silently, staring at her. Something about the word key echoed in his mind. If this device inside her was some kind of key, what did it unlock? He opened the encrypted datapad and began searching the Sindari war files. Most were restricted, but Ethan had backdoor access. He typed, Project Heartseed. A file appeared. Half destroyed, redacted lines everywhere. But one sentence caught his attention. Subject H47 host confirmed stable. The Heartseed will adapt to compatible life form, human or Sindari. Ethan's blood ran cold. Human or Sindari? Rena, he whispered, this isn't Sindari tech. It's hybrid, made by both sides. Rena frowned. You mean humans helped create that thing? He nodded. And now it's killing her. Before Rena could reply, the ship's alarm blared again. Unauthorized transmission detected, said the AI. Signal tracing to medical bay. Ethan turned sharply. The monitors flickered. The girl's body glowed bright, too bright. The sphere in her chest was transmitting. Someone's tracking her. Rena shouted. Ethan cursed. Cut the signal. He slammed his hand on the emergency control panel. Sparks flew. The lights dimmed. But it was too late. The coordinates were already sent. Outside, space was silent. But far away, a dark shape moved between the stars. A Sindari ship. Ethan didn't see it yet, but deep inside him, he knew. Whatever was inside this girl, someone wanted it back. He looked down at her sleeping form, her small chest rising and falling slowly, and he whispered to himself, What are you, little one? The ship's radar beeped softly. Incoming signal. Approaching fast, and Ethan realized something terrifying. Saving her might have just started another war. The sound of alarms echoed through the ship like a heartbeat of fear. Dr. Ethan Hayes stared at the radar, a red dot moving fast toward them through the blackness of space. Rena's voice broke through the noise. Incoming vessel. Sindari signature confirmed. Ethan's stomach dropped. How far? 3 minutes until visual contact, Rena said, her fingers flying over the controls. They locked onto our coordinates right after the transmission. Ethan turned toward the small alien girl lying in the medical bed. Her tiny chest rose and fell weakly, glowing faintly from the pulsing sphere inside her. She looked so fragile, so innocent, yet she was the reason an enemy warship was now hunting them. Can we run? He asked. Not fast enough. They'll catch us before we reach orbit. The ship's AI interrupted coldly. Recommendation: surrender the Sindari subject to avoid diplomatic conflict. Ethan gritted his teeth. We're not surrendering anyone. Rena looked at him, panic in her eyes. Ethan, if we don't, they'll destroy us. You don't know what that thing inside her is. What if it's worth a war? He stared out the viewport, the darkness of space swallowing the stars. Then let it be a war, he whispered. But I won't hand over a child. The ship trembled as Ethan initiated emergency lockdown. Metal shutters sealed the med bay. Lights dimmed to red. The hum of the engines filled the silence like a warning. Ethan walked to the bedside. The girl's eyes fluttered open, glowing faintly blue again. They're coming, she said softly. You can feel them? He asked. She nodded weakly. They want what's inside me. What is it, little one? Ethan asked. Tell me what they did to you. Tears welled in her glowing eyes. They called it heartseed. Said it would make me special. Said I could bring life to dead worlds. But it hurts. It hurts all the time. Ethan froze. Bring life to dead worlds? She nodded. It grows when I feel sad. Or scared. He looked at the scanner again when the heartseed pulsed faster, almost alive. The readings were strange. A mix of biological and artificial signals. It was absorbing energy from her emotions. Rena's voice came from the comm. They're hailing us. Should I answer? Ethan hesitated, then said, Put them through. The holographic display flickered, and a tall Sindari commander appeared, his silver blue armor shining in the dim light. His face was cold, his voice smooth. This is Commander Relak of the Sindari vessel Vornis. You are harboring a stolen subject. Release her immediately! Ethan stood firm. She's a child, not property. She's injured. I'm treating her. Relak's expression didn't change. That child carries the heartseed. It is not yours to keep. Return her, or your ship will be destroyed. Ethan clenched his fists. What is the heartseed? The commander's eyes narrowed. Something your kind was too weak to understand. It is the beginning of creation itself, and you, unhuman, have no right to touch it. The transmission ended with a burst of static. Rena looked pale. Ethan, they're charging weapons. Ethan exhaled sharply. We can't fight them. Not head on. He turned to the girl. What happens if they take you? Her voice shook. They'll finish it. They'll make more like me. More? Ethan whispered. She nodded. They want to control life. And death. He felt a chill run down his spine. Outside, The Sindari ship descended through the atmosphere, glowing like a blade of light cutting through the darkness. Inside, Ethan's hands moved fast over the controls. Rena, prep the escape module. We'll take the girl and get her off-world. That's suicide, Rena said. We'll be vaporized before we reach orbit. Not if we use the dust storms to hide. Rena hesitated, then nodded. Fine. But you owe me a lifetime of drinks if we survive this. Ethan managed a quick smile, but it faded when he saw the girl trembling. It's okay, he said softly. I'll keep you safe. The girl looked up at him with tearful eyes. Humans protect, even when it hurts? Yes, he said. Especially when it hurts. The ship shook violently as the Sindari vessel fired a warning shot. Explosions rippled through the hull. Sparks flew. Shields down to 20%, Rena shouted. Ethan grabbed the girl and ran toward the escape bay. Move! They reached the pod, small, barely enough for two. Rena sealed the door and activated manual launch. Coordinates set for the northern desert, she said. It's empty and we can hide there. Another blast hit. The lights flickered out. Ethan strapped the girl in and hit the eject command. Hold on tight. The escape pod launched into the night, spinning through the burning sky. Flames and debris streaked past the window. The Sindari ship's lights chased them like predators. Inside the pod, the girl clutched Ethan's hand tightly. It hurts again, she whispered. The heart seat in her chest began to glow, brighter than before. The air inside the pod shimmered with energy. Ethan, Rena's voice came through the comm, fading. The readings, it's reacting to her fear. You have to calm her down. Ethan took her hands gently. Hey, look at me. You're safe. I promise. But the glow only grew stronger, until suddenly the pod stopped falling. Ethan looked out the window and gasped. They weren't falling anymore. They were floating. The heartseed's light filled the pod, lifting it gently like invisible hands. The girl's tears floated too, glowing like stars. What's happening? Ethan whispered. The girl's voice was soft, almost peaceful now. It listens to my heart. When I'm scared, it protects me. Ethan stared at her in awe. The heartseed wasn't a weapon. It was alive, and it loved her. Outside, the Sindari ship circled above, unable to lock onto them. The dust storm below swallowed the pod completely, hiding it from radar. As silence returned, Ethan looked down at the sleeping child in his arms. The glow in her chest faded slowly, and for the first time, he realized something. This wasn't just about saving her, it was about saving whatever made her, and maybe the future of both their species. The desert stretched endless and silent under two pale moons. Dr. Ethan Hayes dragged the escape pod's door open, coughing as hot dust poured inside. His suit sensors screamed, radiation low, oxygen thin, but still survivable. They had landed on the far edge of Virel's northern wastelands. Behind him, the tiny alien girl lay motionless in her seat, silver skin glowing faintly. The heartseed inside her chest pulsed slowly, calm now, almost sleeping. Ethan gently lifted her into his arms and stepped into the cold night air. He could still see faint light on the horizon. The Sindari warship searching. Come on, little one, he whispered. We're not safe yet. He started walking toward the shadows of a canyon ahead. The wind howled softly, carrying whispers through the broken rocks. Every few steps he looked up, half expecting a beam of light to fall from the sky. After an hour, they reached an old structure buried in sand. Half metal, half stone, it looked ancient, older than either human or Sindari architecture. A door stood open, cracked and rusted. Ethan hesitated, then stepped inside. The air was cooler. The place was dark except for glowing lines running along the walls. Alien script, long faded but still alive with faint light. He laid the girl on a slab that looked like an altar, brushed the dust from her face and checked her vitals. Still breathing. Still alive. Then the walls began to hum. A voice, a mechanical, deep and old, echoed through the chamber. Welcome, human life form. Genetic pattern identified. Terran descent confirmed. Ethan froze. What the hell? The ceiling glowed, and a hologram flickered to life. A woman appeared, not alien but human. Her uniform bore the insignia of an ancient science division. Terran Genesis Initiative. Project Heartseed Entry Log 47, the hologram said. If you are hearing this, the experiment has survived. Ethan's heart pounded. Terran Genesis? That was a myth. An old pre-war project lost hundreds of years ago. The hologram continued. The Heartseed is a living creation engine, designed to restore dead ecosystems using emotional energy. Only a sentient host can guide its growth. But it grew beyond control. The Sindari stole the prototype, merging it with their bioengineering. The result was tragedy, Ethan whispered, so they made her from both species. The hologram looked directly at him. Though it was centuries old, it felt alive. If you have found the host child, protect her. The Heartseed learns emotion from its guardian. If raised with fear, it destroys. If raised with love, it creates. Then the hologram flickered and vanished. Silence filled the chamber. Ethan stood there stunned. He finally understood the child wasn't a weapon. She was hope. A bridge between two races. He turned back to her. Her eyes opened slowly, faint blue light glowing within. "Where are we?" she whispered. "In an old place," Ethan said softly. "A place built by my people. And maybe yours." She frowned weakly. "Your people made the pain?" Ethan knelt beside her. "Yes, and I think they wanted to fix it too." Her small hand reached out and touched his chest. "Then fix me," he smiled sadly. "I'll try." He began connecting the ship's medical kit to an old console in the room. The systems hummed, merging human and alien code. Slowly, a healing field surrounded the girl. Her breathing steadied. As he worked, Rena's voice crackled faintly from the communicator. "Ethan, are you there?" He froze. "Rena, you're alive?" "Barely. The Sindari crippled the ship. They're still searching for you. Whatever that girl has, they want it bad." Ethan's jaw tightened. "They can't have her. Not after what I just learned." "What did you find?" "The Heartseed. It's not a weapon. It's life itself. It reacts to emotion. It can bring worlds back from ruin." Rena was silent for a moment. "Then you'd better keep her safe. Because if the Sindari get her, they'll use it to rule everything." The signal died. Ethan sighed, turning back toward the girl. But she was sitting up now, eyes wide. "Someone's coming," she said softly. He listened, faint rumbling outside. "A sandstorm? No. Engines." He ran to the doorway and looked out. 3 Sindari drones glided low over the dunes, scanning the area with bright blue lights. "Damn," he muttered. He turned back. "We need to hide deeper inside." The girl nodded weakly. Ethan lifted her again and moved through the tunnels. The deeper they went, the brighter the ancient markings became. Glowing gold now instead of blue, finally, they reached a vast underground chamber, and what Ethan saw made him stop breathing. A giant tree. It wasn't wood or metal, but something between, and its trunk transparent. Its veins filled with glowing liquid light. It reached all the way to the ceiling, roots spread through the rock like rivers. The girl stared, eyes wide. "It's calling me." Ethan looked at her. "What is it?" "It's another Heartseed. A big one. Sleeping." Before he could speak, her chest began to glow, the smaller Heartseed pulsing in rhythm with the tree's light. The ground trembled softly. "Wait, stop!" Ethan shouted. "You're waking it!" But she wasn't afraid. She closed her eyes and whispered something in her own language, soft and melodic. The light from her chest extended outward like waves of energy, connecting her to the ancient tree. The air filled with warmth. The dry air turned moist, the dust began to fall like rain. Flowers, glowing alien flowers, started blooming between the stones. Ethan stared in awe. The girl opened her eyes again, smiling faintly through tears. "It doesn't hurt anymore," she said. But then from above, a loud crash echoed. The drones had found the entrance. The ground shook again, not from the Heartseed, but from Sindari troops cutting through the roof. Ethan grabbed his plasma pistol and stepped in front of the child. "You'll have to go through me first," he whispered. Outside, the sandstorm howled. Inside, the Heartseed's glow spread like dawn. And as Sindari shadows began to pour into the chamber, Ethan realized the battle for one child might decide the fate of every world in the galaxy. The first explosion shook the ancient cavern like thunder from another world. Dust fell from the ceiling and bright cracks of light flashed through the entrance tunnel. The Sindari troops were here. Dr. Ethan Hayes stood in front of the glowing alien girl, plasma pistol drawn, every muscle shaking. Behind him, the giant crystalline tree pulsed with slow golden light. The Heartseed tree, older than both their species. "Stay behind me," Ethan said. The little girl nodded. clutching the edge of his coat. Her eyes glowed softly blue, reflecting the light of the tree. From the darkness above, metallic boots landed. 3 Sindari soldiers appeared first, tall, armored, moving like shadows. Their helmets hid their faces. Their voices were cold. "Human," one said. "Step aside. The child belongs to the Sindari Empire." Ethan tightened his grip on the gun. "She doesn't belong to anyone." The soldier raised his weapon. "Then you die with her." Before Ethan could move, the girl gasped. The heart seed inside her chest lit up again, bright as a small sun. The cavern filled with warmth. The golden light spread from the tree into her body and then outward, a pulse, a wave of energy. The Sindari fired. The plasma bolts hit the light and vanished like sparks in water. The tree hummed louder, its roots glowing brighter. "What's happening?" Ethan shouted over the noise. The girl whispered, "It's protecting us." Then the ground cracked open. Golden vines of energy rose from the earth, wrapping around the soldiers' weapons and armor. Their systems flickered, short-circuited, and failed. One by one, they collapsed, not dead, but frozen in stasis, suspended inside glowing crystal shells. Ethan stared in shock. "You did that?" The girl shook her head. "No, it did. The heartseed remembers me." The giant tree pulsed again, and an image flickered in Ethan's mind, a vision. He saw a world long ago, green and full of life. Humans and Sindari working together, planting the first heartseed to heal a dying planet. But then fear came and greed. The project turned into war. The heartseed was hidden, and both sides forgot the truth. When Ethan opened his eyes, tears were in them. "So that's what this is. Creation." The girl looked tired now, her light fading. "It hurts again." He knelt beside her. "You used too much energy. Rest." She shook her head weakly. "They won't stop. More will come." She was right. Distant sounds echoed through the tunnels, heavy engines and metal claws digging through stone. The Sindari commander himself was coming. Ethan looked around for an escape route. The chamber had one narrow passage leading deeper underground. "We can't fight them all," he muttered. "We need to go." He helped the girl up and they ran toward the tunnel. The tree's light dimmed behind them, retreating like a fading heartbeat. As they moved deeper, the air grew cooler. Strange symbols glowed on the walls, part human language, part Sindari, and part something older. The tunnel opened into another chamber filled with floating crystals, each containing flickering lights like captured stars. "What is this place?" Ethan whispered. The girl touched one crystal gently. Inside, a holographic scene appeared. A woman and a Sindari scientist standing together, smiling, holding a small glowing seed between their hands. "My mother," the girl said softly. "She was human." Ethan froze. "What?" "She worked with them," the girl continued. "They said I was the bridge. But when the war started, they took her away." Ethan's heart ached. "I'm sorry." The girl looked at him, eyes filled with quiet strength. "You remind me of her. She said humans protect life even when it costs everything." He smiled faintly. She was right. Before he could say more, the ground trembled again. The commander's voice echoed through the tunnels, amplified by his armor. "Ethan Hayes, you cannot hide. The heartseed belongs to the Empire." Ethan turned off his communicator and whispered, "He tracked our signal." The girl stepped closer. "I can stop him. But it will hurt." "No," Ethan said firmly. "You've done enough." Her eyes glowed brighter. "If they take me, they will use the heartseed to make soldiers. Worlds will burn. I won't let that happen." She walked toward the center of the chamber and raised her hands. The crystals around them began to vibrate, responding to her presence. "Wait, stop." Ethan ran to her side. "If you do this, it might kill you." She looked at him sadly. "It's okay. I'm not afraid anymore." The air shimmered. The light grew so intense that Ethan had to shield his eyes. When he looked again, the girl was floating a few inches above the ground. The heartseed inside her chest had opened like a flower of light, petals of pure energy spreading out through the chamber. Ethan's communicator crackled. Rena's voice again, faint but urgent. "Ethan, I'm tracking an enormous energy surge near your position. What's going on?" He shouted back, "She's trying to protect us." Outside, the Sindari commander and his troops entered the main cavern. The tree of light erupted again, golden roots rising to block their path. The commander's voice roared in anger, "Stop her!" But it was too late. The light exploded outward, not as fire or destruction, but as life. The barren sand above the temple cracked open, and green vines burst from the earth. Rain fell from a clear sky for the first time in centuries. The entire desert began to breathe again. Inside, Ethan shielded the girl as energy washed over them. He felt warmth, not pain, a deep peace as if the planet itself had sighed in relief. When the light faded, everything was quiet. The Sindari troops were gone, absorbed into the roots, unharmed but asleep. The commander's ship was buried beneath new growth. Ethan turned and saw the girl lying still on the ground. The glow in her chest was fading. "No," he whispered, falling to his knees. "Stay with me, please." Her eyes opened weakly. "It doesn't hurt anymore," she said softly. "Did I make it right?" Tears filled Ethan's eyes. "You did. You saved us all." She smiled faintly, her voice barely a breath. "Then maybe I can sleep now." Her hand fell still. The heartseed dimmed, and from it a single small seed of light floated upward, landing in Ethan's palm. He held it close, trembling. The seed pulsed once and alive. Outside, the reborn world glowed under twin moons, and Ethan whispered, "I'll keep your light safe, little one." "I promise." The air outside the ruin smelled different now, fresh. Where once there had been only sand and silence, there were now green vines curling across the ground and strange glowing flowers blooming in the moonlight. Dr. Ethan Hayes walked slowly through the transformed desert, the small seed of light still glowing faintly in his hand. It pulsed with the same rhythm as a heartbeat, soft, warm, alive. He looked toward the horizon where the Sindari warship had crashed. The giant vessel lay half buried under new growth, its black metal tangled in vines. Nature was reclaiming everything, but Ethan's heart was heavy. The little alien girl, the one who had brought this miracle one, was gone. Only the seed remained. He looked down at it and whispered, "You did this, didn't you? You gave the world back its life." The seed pulsed again, as if answering him. He closed his fingers gently around it. "Then I'll keep your promise. I'll protect it." He built a small shelter near the canyon using pieces of the crashed escape pod. Days passed. At night he could hear faint sounds in the distance. The wind, the soft hum of the reborn forest, and sometimes whispers. They sounded like her voice. "It doesn't hurt anymore." He would wake up sweating, the seed glowing brighter on the table beside him. By the fifth night, strange things started happening. When Ethan touched the seed, he could feel things, and not just warmth but emotions. Joy, sadness, curiosity, and sometimes pain. One night, while he was examining it under a scanner, the seed suddenly flashed with blinding light. Ethan stumbled back, shielding his eyes, and then felt a burning sensation in his palm. He looked down. The seed had vanished. A faint glow spread from the center of his hand, sinking into his skin like liquid fire. He gasped, clutching his chest as warmth flooded through him. The world tilted, his heartbeat racing faster than ever. Then silence. When he opened his eyes, everything looked sharper. He could see the tiny patterns on each leaf, the soft movement of air currents. He could feel the energy of the living world around him. The heartseed was inside him now. The next morning, he heard the sound of engines far away. Not Sindari this time, but human. He climbed to a cliff and saw a small Alliance ship landing in the valley below. Rena stepped out, limping but alive. She spotted him and waved. "Ethan, you're still breathing, thank God." He ran down to meet her. "Rena, you made it." "Barely," she said, looking around. "What happened here?" "The scanners show this desert turned into a jungle overnight." Ethan exhaled slowly. "The girl..." "She used the heartseed. It changed everything." Rena stared at the green horizon. "Changed?" "Ethan, you don't understand. Every satellite in orbit picked up the energy surge. Both the Alliance and the Sindari are coming to investigate. They think it's a new weapon." Ethan's heart sank. "A weapon?" "No, it's life." Rena looked at him closely. "Where's the girl?" He hesitated. "She's gone, but..." He lifted his hand. The faint glow was still there, moving beneath his skin like liquid light. Rena's eyes widened. "Ethan, what did you do?" "I didn't do anything," he said softly. "It chose me." She stepped back. "You're carrying it?" "Inside you?" He nodded. "It's part of me now." Rena cursed under her breath. "Ethan, if Command finds out, they'll lock you in a lab for the rest of your life. They'll cut it out of you if they have to." He looked out toward the green valley, the reborn world. "Then they can't find out." That night they stayed near the edge of the forest. Strange creatures, glowing and gentle, roamed in the distance, feeding on the new plants. It was peaceful, almost beautiful, but Ethan couldn't sleep. The glow in his hand pulsed faster. In his dreams he saw visions, the little girl smiling, her voice echoing inside his mind. "Don't be afraid, Ethan," she whispered. "It's still me," he gasped, awake. The air shimmered faintly, and for a brief moment he saw her, a translucent figure standing beside him made of soft light. "You're alive?" he said, stunned. "Part of me," she said. "The heartseed remembers its guardian. You carry me now." Ethan swallowed hard. "Then help me understand it." "What is it trying to do?" She smiled sadly. "It wants to grow, but others will fear it. They'll try to destroy what they don't understand." Her image flickered. "You must take it to the core world, or to Earth. The heartseed must return home." Then she vanished. Rena found him standing outside, staring at the stars. "You look like you saw a ghost," she said. "I did," he replied quietly. "And she told me what we need to do." Rena frowned. "Please don't say Earth. Command already declared that planet restricted after the wars." He nodded. "That's why we're going there," Rena groaned. "You're insane." "Maybe," he said, looking at the faint light in his palm. "But she trusted me. And if the heartseed is meant to restore life, Earth is the place to start." They packed what little they had and prepared Rena's ship for flight. As they lifted off, the reborn forest below shimmered under the twin moons. Ethan watched the light fade behind them and whispered, "Goodbye, little one." But the faint glow in his chest pulsed again, almost like an answer, as if she were still listening. Then suddenly the ship's alarm blared. "Warning," said the AI. "Multiple ships approaching from orbit. Identification, Sindari and Terran fleets." Rena's eyes widened. "Both sides? They're already here." Ethan clenched his fists. "They can't have it." "Not again." He looked out the window. The stars ahead glowed bright and endless. Between them, the path to Earth waited, far and dangerous. The girl's voice whispered faintly in his mind one last time. "Run. Ethan, protect the light." He took a deep breath and pushed the throttle forward. The ship leapt into hyperspace, vanishing into the streaks of starlight. The stars stretched into long white lines as the ship tore through hyperspace. Dr. Ethan Hayes sat in the cockpit, staring at the glowing pattern on his palm. The heartseed pulsed gently under his skin, calm now, almost alive, almost breathing with him. Across from him, Lieutenant Rena watched silently. Her uniform was torn, her eyes tired, but her hand stayed steady on the flight controls. "You're really doing this, huh?" "Going back to Earth?" Ethan nodded slowly. "It started there. It has to end there," Rena sighed. "You do realize both the Sindari and the Alliance are tracking us. The moment we drop out of hyperspace, we'll have a fleet on our tail." He looked out at the streaming light. "Then we better make this worth the chase." The dead world hours later, the ship emerged from hyperspace into silent darkness. Before them floated a broken world, Earth. Once blue and bright, now gray and cold. Its oceans had dried long ago. Its surface was cracked, covered in endless dust. The cities were bones of steel, the skies filled with ruins of satellites and memories. Rena's voice was soft. "I never thought I'd see it like this." Ethan placed his hand on the window. "Home," he whispered. "And it's dying." The heartseed pulsed harder in his palm. He felt warmth spreading through his arm. Not pain, but purpose. "It wants to be here," he said. "It remembers." Rena checked the sensors. "Energy levels spiking." "It's reacting to the planet," Ethan smiled faintly. "Good. That means it's still listening." They landed in what had once been the Pacific Basin, now a vast crater filled with sand and glass. The sky above was orange, and lightning flickered in slow motion through thick clouds. Ethan stepped out of the ship and knelt on the ground. The dust was fine, lifeless. But when he pressed his glowing palm into it, tiny sparks of light appeared, small like embers trying to breathe. Rena watched him carefully. "Ethan, are you sure about this?" He nodded. "She told me the heartseed learns emotion from its guardian. If I give it love, maybe it can heal this world too. Or it could destroy you," she said quietly. He smiled without looking up. "Then I'll go with it." The chase before he could begin, the sky split open. Two fleets emerged from orbit, human and Sindari ships firing warning shots at each other. And in the chaos between them, smaller crafts broke through the clouds, racing toward the surface. Rena cursed. They found us. Ethan stood. Keep them busy. I'll finish this. You think I can fight an entire war with one ship? You've done crazier things, he said with a weak grin. She sighed. You owe me dinner if we survive this. She climbed back aboard and launched the ship skyward, engines blazing. Within moments she was gone, a streak of light vanishing into the clouds. Ethan turned back to the dust. The heart seed inside him glowed brighter, its light spreading through his chest and veins. The air shimmered around him. He whispered, Okay, little one, let's show them what you were meant to be. The awakening. The ground began to tremble. From beneath the surface, golden veins of energy spread outward, miles and miles of them. The sky turned blue for the first time in centuries. Clouds broke apart as beams of light shot upward, connecting sky and soil. In orbit, both fleets stopped firing. Sensors screamed warnings no one understood. What is that? A Sindari captain shouted. The human admiral stared at the view screen. It's Earth, it's coming alive. On the surface, Ethan fell to his knees, the energy surging through him. His vision blurred, but he didn't fight it. He could see her again, the little alien girl standing in front of him, smiling through light. You kept your promise, she said softly. He smiled weakly. I tried. You did more than try, she said. You gave it love. The light behind her grew brighter, a wave of energy rising like the ocean once did. It spread across the world, turning deserts into forests, ruins into green valleys. Ethan gasped, his body glowing brighter. The heartseed was merging with the planet, flowing through him like fire and water. He felt no pain, only peace. The girl reached out her hand. You can let go now, he shook his head. No, not until it's done, she smiled. It is done. Her hand touched his chest and the world went silent. The new dawn, when Rena's ship returned hours later, she saw something that took her breath away. Earth was no longer gray. It shimmered with oceans again, green continents shining under sunlight. The sky was blue, the air alive. But where she had last seen Ethan, there was only a field of glowing flowers. Millions of them, spreading as far as the eye could see. In the center of that field stood a tall crystal tree, its trunk glowing with golden veins. She stepped out of the ship, her eyes wide, her voice trembling. Ethan? A soft wind passed through the flowers, and for a moment she heard his voice in her mind. I told you I'd protect it. She smiled through tears. You did, you stubborn fool. As she walked closer to the tree, one of its branches glowed brighter, forming a small bud that opened like a flower. Inside it, a tiny seed of light rested, pulsing slowly. She picked it up gently. The same warmth Ethan once carried filled her hand, and a faint whisper echoed in her mind. The voice of the little alien girl. Take it to the stars. The light must keep growing. Rena looked up at the reborn sky, where distant fleets now stood silent, watching. For the first time, neither side fired a single shot. She smiled. Maybe it finally learned from him. The wind carried the sound of leaves, of oceans, of life reborn. The world was no longer at war, not in that moment. As the sun rose over the new Earth, a single message appeared on every ship, every channel, every screen, written in two languages, human and Sindari alike. The heartseed is not a weapon. It is love made real. Protect it. Rena stood beside the glowing tree, holding the tiny seed close to her chest. Somewhere in the rustle of the new forest, she swore she heard Ethan laugh, quiet, peaceful, alive in every leaf and every heartbeat of the world he'd saved. And above it all, the twin moons shone, one blue, one violet, watching over a galaxy that, for the first time in centuries, dared to dream again.